The TUATARA is a reptile that has a third eye on top of its head. The eye has a retina, nerve connections, and a lens, but isn't used for seeing, as during growth it quickly becomes covered by scales. Scientists are still trying to find the eye's mysterious function. There's only one letter that doesn't appear in the name of any of the 50 U.S. states. There's a Z in Arizona, and even 2 pesky X's in New Mexico and Texas. But search a map and you won't find a single Q in any U.S. state name. It's estimated that a total of 108 billion people have lived on Earth throughout its history. Ever wondered what that tiny pocket in your jeans is for? It's a watch pocket and was originally intended as a place to store pocket watches. It dates back to 1879 as a new feature on a pair of Levi's jeans. Over 3 billion pounds of potatoes are used to make McDonald's fries every year, which is around 15% of all the potatoes grown in America in 2020. Unlike humans, cats don't have the same amount of toes on their front and back paws. They usually have 5 toes on their front paws, but only 4 on their back ones. If you've got a feline companion, go take a look. The entire population of Earth could fit inside Los Angeles. With the world's population being 7.5 billion, this seems crazy. But if everyone stood shoulder to shoulder, we could all fit inside 500 square miles. Pigs aren't the only animals that are great at finding truffles. Dogs are just as good thanks to their sense of smell and are now used more commonly. The current American flag was designed by a high school student. Bob Heft designed the flag for his history class in 1958 and was only given a B- for his efforts. Later, his design was chosen out of more than 1,500 others to become the new flag. His grade was unsurprisingly changed to an A after this. The pandas in your local zoo may look at home, but unless you're in China, they're just on vacation. That's because technically all pandas are on loan from China and are the property of that country. The sentence, "The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog," uses every letter in the English language. In 1974, a full NASA spacesuit cost between $15 and $22 million. But over time, NASA hasn't replaced worn-out suits, leading to them only having 4 working EVA suits left. But have no fear. Since 2009, NASA has been working to upgrade their outside-the-spaceship wardrobe with an investment of $200 million. Does that come with sequins? Hot water actually may freeze faster than cold water. This is because the cooled water at the bottom is denser than the hot water at the top, and this uneven temperature distribution speeds up the cooling process. In a 12-hour period, it's likely that an ant will only take 8 minutes of rest. They're really switching up the definition of a power nap. Camels have 3 sets of eyelids and 2 rows of eyelashes to protect them from the blowing sands of the desert. The letter X was first used to represent a kiss all the way back in 1763. It was first used in a letter written by British naturalist Gilbert White. No one actually knows if we're spelling William Shakespeare correctly, and it looks like the man himself wasn't too sure either. He signed his name in a number of ways. But it turned out he never signed anything as William Shakespeare, despite it being the accepted spelling today. The word swims still looks the same even when turned upside down, like that. A tiny percentage of the static that you see on old TV screens is residual radiation left over from the Big Bang. If you were to lift up the tail of a kangaroo, and I wouldn't necessarily recommend this, the animal would no longer be able to hop. Kangaroos use their tails as a third leg to propel them forward and also to keep balance. So basically, they'd fall over. If you're heading to London to see the famous London Bridge, think again, as the original bridge is now in Arizona. By the 1960s, London Bridge was falling down. Really? And so the city decided to sell it to an American oil tycoon, Robert P. McCullough. It was disassembled, each piece labeled, shipped over to the U.S., and reassembled. It can now be found in Lake Havasu City. Movie trailers, those teasers of upcoming movies shown before the main feature, were originally shown after the movie, which is why they're called trailers. Oh, You don't have to worry about a crocodile mocking you, as they can't actually stick out their tongues. Crocs have a membrane in their mouth which prevents the tongue from moving. English is the most widely spoken language in the world, but 4 times more people speak it as a second language than as their mother tongue. Speaking of England, the crown jewels contain 2 of the largest cut diamonds of all time. The Cullinan diamond is the largest diamond ever found and is part of the sovereign's scepter with cross. The second gem is the aptly named Cullinan II, which is mounted in the impressive imperial state crown. So now you know. Every glass of water you drink probably contains water molecules that have also been drunk by a dinosaur. The dinosaurs were around for 186 million years, compared to humanity's 200,000, giving them a lot more time to drink Earth's water than us. Huge diamonds could be raining down on Jupiter and Saturn as you watch this video. That's because lightning storms turn methane into carbon, which gradually hardens as it falls and turns into diamonds. Beneath the Easter Island heads, they actually have hidden bodies. In the 1900s, archaeologists dug up 2 of the statues to find full torsos measuring 30 feet. The torso was 30 feet long, not that the statue had 30 feet. That would be weird. Next time you're struggling to concentrate when studying, try reaching for a stick of gum. A study found that participants who chewed gum while taking a memory test could stay focused longer than those who didn't. Now, common sense would suggest that trees have been around before most animals, as they produce oxygen for us to breathe. If you were to tell this to a shark, it would laugh, as the sea creatures were actually around long before trees. Sharks date back around 400 million years, with trees coming in about 50 million years later. Yeah, I want to see a shark laugh. Listen closely next time you turn on the hot and cold water taps, as water actually makes different pouring sounds depending on its temperature. The heat changes the thickness of the water, which changes the pitch of the sound it makes when it's poured. There may be a new suspect to add to police lineups, and that suspect is a koala bear. While gorillas and chimps have fingerprints similar to humans, so does the cuddly koala. The Comic Sans font has divided people across the world for decades, and has developed a reputation for being informal or unprofessional. This makes perfect sense given its creation, as designer Vincent Conner looked to his favorite comic books like Watchmen for inspiration. Think of the first thing that comes to your head when Transylvania is brought up. It's vampires, right? But Dracula's author Bram Stoker never actually visited the mountainous region of Romania, which cemented Transylvania in the legend of the vampire forever. The first college football game took place as far back as 1869 and was between Rutgers and Princeton. Rutgers won the game 6-4. If you're looking for a bodyguard from the animal kingdom, look no further. The silverback gorilla can lift up to 10 times its own body weight, which translates to a total of around 1,800 pounds. This makes them one of the strongest living mammals on Earth. Ever wondered how a city gets named? In Portland, it came down to a coin flip. If the coin had landed the other way around, we'd be calling it Boston, Oregon. Iceland is growing 2 inches every year. This is because it's divided by the North American and European tectonic plates. So as the plates push wider apart, the bigger Iceland gets. The average person will spend a whopping 6 months of their life waiting for red traffic lights to turn green. Poor yellow isn't even mentioned. Humans are the only animals with chins. While other animals, like the chimpanzee, share similarities with humans, like walking on 2 legs or having a jaw, none actually have that little bit of bone in the middle of the lower jaw. So hey, when you're feeling down, chin up!